Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Gadigal people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, February 22. In Squiz Kids Today, Ukraine's unhappy anniversary, Rio's colourful Carnival, fighting Facebook fakes, and Pickles, our new surf champ. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
On Friday, the people of Ukraine will mark an anniversary that none of them wish they had to, as the calendar flips on one whole year since Russia invaded their country and they've been at war. And while images of bombed-out apartment buildings appear every night on the TV news, it's easy to become desensitised, which is to say we get used to seeing the pictures and they don't have the same impact as the first time we saw them. It's human nature. Which is partly why US President Joe Biden yesterday paid a surprise visit to the country, meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the capital, Kyiv, making what's known as a public show of support to the Ukrainian people. And that was a really big deal. Many world leaders have visited Ukraine since it's been at war with its neighbour, including Australian PM Anthony Albanese, but a visit by a US president sends an especially strong message, as the US is seen as one of the most powerful backers in Ukraine's battle against Russia. And while we're overseas, 2 weeks after the country was rocked by the worst earthquake it has ever experienced, Turkey was once again shaken yesterday by a powerful aftershock, causing even more buildings to crumble and sending terrified residents out onto the street in the middle of the night again. Our thoughts are with you, people of Turkey.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Brazil, in the seaside city of Rio de Janeiro, no less, where the biggest party in the world is underway. It's called Carnival, and it's an explosion of colour and dance and costumes and street parties and parades, the likes of which have made the festival famous all over the world. It happens every year, a wild burst of excess and exuberance in the days before Lent, which is a Christian tradition and a 40-day period leading up to Easter, during which many Catholics give up something important or especially pleasurable in their life as a mark of respect to God. This year's Carnival in Brazil kicked off at the weekend and will run until today, Ash Wednesday, when Lent begins. And it's an extra special big party this year after 2 years of COVID cancelled Carnival. And the Brazilian government is saying that they expect some 46 million people will hit the streets to get their party on. I've stuck a link to a photo gallery of this year's main Carnival parade in Rio in today's episode notes. It's quite the spectacle.
Sport time!
She's the new queen of the waves. She comes from a tiny seaside town on the New South Wales Central Coast, and as of yesterday, when she won her very first world surfing title, Molly Picklum is on top of the world. Literally. Pickles, as she's known to friends, won in a nail-biting final, crushing her last wave ride at the iconic Sunset Beach in Hawaii. Molly is now ranked number 1 in the world, an achievement made all the more remarkable by the fact that she's only 20 years old, and this is only her second year on the championship tour. That now means we have both the men's and women's world number 1 surfers, after WA's Jack Robinson claimed the world number 1 spot for fellas just under a fortnight ago. Speaking after her win, Molly said she was just so proud of herself. And we're proud of you too, Molly. I've stuck a link to video of Molly in action in today's episode notes. Sick!
Newshounds.
Every Wednesday, Squizzy the Newshound sticks his snout into the Squiz Kids HQ to report back on fishy goings-on that he's sniffed out on the internet. And today his ears have pricked up at the news that Facebook and Instagram will be adding a new verified feature to their platforms. Verified means something has been checked and found to be true. It's an attempt by both social media platforms to weed out the fake accounts which are spreading fake information. Why? Because Insta and Facebook and TikTok know that lots of people create accounts pretending to be someone they're not, or pretending to be part of an organisation or a company that they've got nothing to do with, and then they publish things that aren't true. It's another reminder that we should be extra careful when we find ourselves on social media to stop, think, and check, as Squizzy says, before believing everything we see, read, or hear. Not that any of you should be on any of these platforms before the age of 13, mind you. But just in case you accidentally find yourself there.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the big celebration taking part in Brazil this week? Yeah, that's right, it's called Carnival. Question number 2. Who has just paid a visit to Ukraine? Yeah, of course, it's President Joe Biden from the United States. Question number 3. What's the nickname of Australia's new surfing queen? Yeah, that's right, her friends call her Pickles.
Shout-outs.
It's February 22. Today is Cat Day in Japan, a national day to celebrate our feline friends. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Alia from Middle Harbour, Mivan from Wollongong, Kayla from Ocean Grove, Parker from Morayfield, Toby from Mount Pleasant, Raphael from Perth, Sullivan from Ascot Vale, Capri from Burpengary, Aidan from Sydney, and Lucy from Queenscliff. And classroom shout-outs today go to Stage 2 and 3 with Mrs Halliburton, Mrs Hart and Mr Pratt at St Joseph's Primary School in Junee, Class 6S at Narrabeen Lakes Public School, Class 6S and Mr Starr at Cherrybrook Public School, Class 3S and Miss Smith at the Scott School in Albury, Class 2BK with Mrs Cabery at the Good Shepherd Lutheran College in Croydon Hills, and finally, Class 4 5G and Miss Garvin at Glenbrook Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.